The air in Neo-Tokyo District 9 didn't smell like rain. It smelled of ozone, burnt rubber, and the metallic temps of blood. High above the jagged skyscrapers, the sky was a bruised purple, illuminated by the flickering neon advertisements for Neuralinks and synthetic dreams. Deep within the bowels of the Iron Lotus tenement, Master Kato sat on a tatami mat that had survived 3 wars and a dozen corporate coups. In front of him lay the tools of his ancestors: a chipped ceramic bowl, a bamboo whisk, and a small wooden jar containing a vibrant emerald powder. He was the last tea master. Outside, the Uprising had reached the gates. The riot drones hummed with a low-frequency vibration that rattled the window panes. Every few seconds, a flash of blue light, a sonic pulse, would illuminate the room, followed by the distant, rhythmic chanting of the resistance. Kaito's hands, mapped with the wrinkles of 80 years, trembled just slightly as he lifted the iron kettle. The water inside began to sing. In the world outside, everything was fast. Information moved at light speed. Lives were bought and sold in microseconds on the blockchain. But here, in this tiny 2x2 meter room, time was a thick, slow honey. He poured the hot water into the bowl, warming the ceramic. The steam rose, carrying the faint scent of charcoal, a ghost of a forgotten forest. CRASH. A kinetic charge detonated in the alleyway below. The building shuddered. Dust fell from the ceiling, settling on Kato's simple silk kimono. He did not flinch. He did not rush. To move quickly was to give in to the chaos. To panic was to admit that the machine had won. He emptied the warming water and carefully wiped the bowl. Then he added 2 scoops of mud. The green powder looked like a handful of precious moss in a desert of cold steel and concrete. As he began to whisk, the motion was precise, an art form passed down through generations. It wasn't just a movement of the wrist, it was a meditation. Wish-whack, wish-whack. The organic sound of the bamboo against the clay competed with the mechanical thrum-thrum-thrum of the overhead hunter. The drones used thermal imaging to hunt the rebels, scanning for the heat of panicked hearts. Bakato's heart rate was so low, his breathing so shallow, that he appeared as little more than a ghost on their sensors, a cool spot in a city on fire. "Grandfather, we have to go." A young woman, her face smeared with tactical grease and neon war paint, burst into the room. It was Hannah, his only granddaughter, a fierce leader of the digital front. She clutched a pulse rifle, her eyes wide with the frantic energy of the revolution. "The enforcer units are 2 floors down," she hissed, her voice a strained whisper. "They are purging the sector." Kato looked up, his eyes clear and unfathomable as a deep, still lake. "The tea is almost ready," Hannah said. Her disbelief was a sharp, jagged thing. "There's no time for tea. The world is ending." "The world is always ending for someone," Kato replied softly, his voice a calm anchor in the storm. "Sit. If this is the end of the line, let us greet it with our humanity intact, not as fleeing animals." Hannah hesitated. The deafening roar of a descending dropship shook the floorboards, rattling her very bones. But looking at her grandfather, a pillar of impossible stillness in a collapsing universe, she felt a strange, cooling sensation spread through her chest. The fire of her fear was being quenched. She lowered her rifle, and, with a deep breath, she sat. Kato finished whisking and handed her the bowl. The foam on the surface was perfect, a sea of tiny, vibrant bubbles. A miniature, tranquil world. Hannah took the bowl with both hands. She felt the warmth seep into her palms, a stark contrast to the cold, carbon fiber grip of her weapon. The warmth was real. It was ancient. It was human. She took a sip. The bitterness hit first, sharp and bracing. It was followed by a deep, earthy sweetness that seemed to ground her soul to the dirt of old Earth, to the memory of a time long before the concrete took over. For just a moment, the screaming of the sirens faded. The flashing red lights of the drones outside the window felt like nothing more than fireflies. The chaos was still there, but it was outside of her. Inside, there was a profound calm. Then, the door kicked open. For enforcer droids, their optical visors glowing a cold, lethal white, filled the doorway. They leveled their weapons at the pair. Their internal processors whirred, calculating the threat. They saw a girl with a gun and an old man with a bowl. They registered the weapon, the war paint, the adrenaline. They also registered the stillness, the ritual, the anomaly. Kaito didn't look at them. He took the bowl back from Hannah, turned it twice in his hands, and finished the last drop of tea. He then wiped the rim with a white cloth, deliberate, graceful, and utterly unafraid motion. In that silence, surrounded by the automated agents of a faceless regime, the revolution was won, not with fire and pulse rifles, but with the quiet, unshakable refusal to be moved. The refusal to let the chaos outside destroy the peace within. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more explorations of what it means to be human in a world that is anything but. See you next time.